Hi everyone, and welcome to Citrix Converge 2020. Woohoo! Today's session title is Automate the Morning and Enjoy Your Coffee. Before we get started, I did want to take the time to introduce myself. I am Steve Noel and I live in the Madison, Wisconsin area. I'm an independent consultant focused on all things Citrix. I've been working with Citrix for the past 15 plus years, 10 of those in the system administrator architect role. Very proud to say I'm a Citrix technology advocate, and I enjoy sharing knowledge on Twitter, writing blogs when I can, tinkering in the home lab, and working with different automation technologies. Also, I have a loving wife, which we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary, and 2 devil kids that are almost 3 and almost 5. But enough about me. Let's get on with the session. All right, we're talking about the agenda here. So first we'll go over, the why. Why are we trying to solve this problem of automating the morning? What problems are coming up and what this script is going to do to help us alleviate them. We'll go through the setup of the script and what we all need to do before it's in place, and the different parts that are needed to get it running. Then we'll step through the different functions of the script. There's, a lot of them. I won't go over every single one, but I'll go over the main ones that are pretty common in most environments. And we'll go through kind of what it takes to insert your own function. Then a little bit about the notifications on what the script is going to do to tell you what it did. Keep a little log of that. We'll go through some sample outputs of what the notifications look like, and then we'll go over some takeaways and closing. So let's get started here. The why. So we have a lot of issues we face in a Citrix environment, and some of those are dealing with just the nightly reboots. Majority in a non-persistent environment, you're going to want to reboot them nightly, but also with RDSH, it's best practice to do that. Some of the newer operating systems you can get away with weekly, but for the most part, if you don't want to worry about issues, you're going to reboot your VDAs nightly. So sometimes that introduces issues of possibly the VDAs not coming up. Also, it's pretty common for admins to troubleshoot the VDAs, and when you're doing that, you put them in maintenance mode, and then something pulls you away, and you're not able to go back to it, and you forget all about it, and a week later you look at it and ask the whole team why this VDA is in maintenance mode. So we also deal with hypervisor crashes. And for whatever reason or another, or some type of crash either on the VDA or the host itself. And then we have boot and logon storms in the morning that tend to cause strain on the environment. So we have all these different problems, and these are just a handful. We have all these different problems that we're trying to solve, and a lot of times the admin will make it his daily routine to get up in the morning, or have an operations team check the environment in the morning and make sure no emails came through and no monitoring alerts were set. And then the admin goes into studio, checks for unregistered machines, and to make sure everything is operating how it should. And if it's not, he takes time out of his morning to correct them by whatever means. So that's pretty much the why here. Like I said, the same morning cleanup routine. This is what this script is going to help alleviate. We'll be able to be a little more proactive and not reactive with everything. We don't want to just wait for problems to occur or wait for tickets to get escalated. We want to stay ahead of the curve and be proactive. Excuse me. Lately there's just a huge increase in moving towards automation. And what that movement is, whether it's just creating PowerShell scripts or using a CI/CD pipeline. I think that this is a great way to get started. In this movement, whether when the script was first created, it was had just one function in it, and then you realize all the different common themes across different environments, and now it's up to like 15 functions. So you start small and you kind of just build and build and build, and your end product is an automated platform that can multiple companies can use, and that can save your admins hours throughout the week. So this will help with capacity in a way that, kind of what I was talking about before, where, you may put a machine in maintenance mode, or maybe a machine doesn't come up cleanly. And one day that is fine, but you tack on, a few days of that, and you have multiple machines down, or, could be 10 to 20 to 30 of machines that just didn't cleanly come up. Maybe there was a small outage that took down half of the environment. You just didn't notice it. So this script will help alleviate some of those problems that can kind of sneak up on you day in and day out of neglect. It's also really easily offloaded to the operations team. Again, the script will run and will output some data, and based upon those things, you may or may not have to do some additional cleanup on, depending on if the script said it took care of it, or if the environment just came back clean. But regardless, it will do majority of the heavy lifting, and then the additional tasks are small things to follow up on, and it clearly outputted there for you too. It's not like you have to go searching for what you need to look at. It's a simple email, text, and saying, hey, there was a problem with this, the script fixed it, you may want to go check it. Or if you're noticing more day to day of the same machine having the same problem. So there are some prerequisites. This script has been tested with the Citrix virtual apps and desktops, LTSR 7.6, 7.15, and 19.12. As well as the latest current release. So just letting you know that those are what it's working for. It has not been tested with the cloud. It shouldn't be a huge problem. We'll have to substitute the delivery controllers with the cloud connectors, but it should work. If you're trying this out, I would love to get some feedback from you on how we can better the code to make it work if it's not. So please let me know. So you do need to be a Citrix site admin, or you can create custom roles that's going to allow you to perform the power actions that the script does, such as taking things in and out of maintenance mode, using the reset feature for the hypervisor, through Studio. So you'll need some of those. If you're such a site admin, that should do it. Otherwise, you can create your own custom role. It's easiest to install on a delivery controller, but really you just need the PowerShell Citrix SDKs. That usually happens when you install Studio. So this doesn't have to run from a delivery controller. Really just the easiest way to do it is to, if you have like a scripting VM, to just install Studio, and that will install all the PowerShell CVADs and SDK from Citrix that you need to run. And obviously, as well as being able to talk to the delivery controllers. That's pretty much what the script does, is contact the delivery controllers. Now, there are some other functions that allow it to reach out to talk directly to the VDAs for one reason or another. So it's best to have a machine that's either on the same network as your delivery controllers or VDAs, but there is communication going from the scripting VM to the delivery controller and the VDAs. Okay, so we'll talk about the setup. So pretty much it's just going to be a scheduled task is the easiest. I have used some other scheduling software before, such as Control M or Jenkins. You can do the same thing. Obviously, everyone already has a Windows box if they have Citrix. So feel free to just use the scheduled task. It's probably the easiest. So you're just going to create that. You're going to set it up to run under a certain account. Whether that's a service account or something else. You'll set your trigger. In this specific instance, I am doing 2. If the script finds something, it will take action on it and log that. And if it doesn't find anything to do, it just comes back with, I'm clean, no further action type of message. So in this case, the director wanted to see that all clean email come through, just knowing that the previous script took all the power actions it needed to do, and then the follow-up email came clean. So that's one way of doing it. A lot of people just run it once and then they kind of go back and look, but certainly running it twice is acceptable, or running it more times, whatever you want to do. Just kind of whatever you're looking for. It's flexible. And then you'll just, your action will be to run a, bat file, or this could just be the PowerShell file in here. In this case, I'm just running a bat file that has the PowerShell.exe space command line after it. So as you can see, setting it up here from the scheduled task, pretty easy, similar to other things you probably do. So this is what's in the bat file and the string that it runs. For the sake of easily reading it, I broke it into 2 lines, but it would be 1 line here. So we're just doing a PowerShell.exe. We're calling where the PowerShell script is, the PS1 file actually is. In this case, it's just on the C drive under a folder, but it can be on a network share or wherever you want it. We're calling out the specific delivery controllers. Note here that you can add multiple delivery controllers here. It will loop through them when it does its thing. The maintenance tag, you can specify if you're tagging machines or not. In this case, I'll go through the function later, but you'll kind of see where the maintenance tag comes in play. This log directory is the output directory of what happens that the script does, if it finds a problem or if it doesn't find a problem. Either way, that gets logged to the log file. That logging mechanism is done with PowerShell transcript. So I'm not doing out file or anything like that. I'm basically just doing a PowerShell transcript where it is going to log everything that the console normally would, and then spit that out to whatever file you have here as the parameter. In this case, we're doing over here, we're doing the email our parameter. So we'll be specifying the SMTP server, and then the to address and the from address. You can see here with the to address that we have multiple emails listed there, so you can have one or you can have multiple. So after you kind of get your parameter set up, here's some other just examples of what you can do. And I explain all of this in throughout this session, as well as throughout the session and on the GitHub repository where it lives. But they're just different examples here of what you can do and what parameters you can use. You can see, I'm emailing with one. I'm not with another. I'm simply doing a log only one here. So just a few different examples of what you can use. So the script does live on GitHub. I'm pretty much the only contributor now, but would love to have different contributions from you all smart people out there that are most likely smarter than myself. So feel free to contribute. Let me know if there's any issues. Add your own functions that you think would be important to other environments, and we can just kind of keep on going and progressing this script. And yeah, there are some other goodies out there in GitHub on my repository, so feel free to check them out. So kind of digging into the code a little bit. In this case, we're just gonna, there's a bunch of slides that say the code, and then the parameters and logging subsection is what we'll be talking about that's relevant per slide. So you can see the parameters on the left here. The only two mandatory ones are specifying the delivery controller and the log directory. Those you'll have to output or put in. You don't really need the other ones. And like I said before, the delivery controllers, you can add multiple ones there if you have multiple sites. So you don't need to run the script separate times, although you can do that if you want to set up multiple scheduled tasks with each site. You can do that, or just put them both here if you just want to see them all in one notification. Log directory is pretty self-explanatory. That's where it's gonna spit out the PowerShell transcript file, and then we'll just attach or append a date to the actual file name itself at the end. The maintenance mode tag, I'll be going through that in a different slide. You have your email switch, your log only switch. The log only one is nice if you don't want to take any action. We'll be going through the different functions and then different power actions that it takes, or whether it's rebooting machines or kicking users out or doing some type of action. If you use the log only parameter, it won't do anything. It will tell you that it's going to reboot something, but it won't actually do it. So you can kind of see it in the log only mode, which is a nice feature. And then you have your email parameters here for your SMTP server, your to addresses, and your from address. So moving on to kind of the first part of the code here, we're just setting some variables here for the output log file. And you can see here's the start transcripts, and it uses the output location variable that includes the log directory that you specified and just kind of appends the file name of where everything is. This function is the unregistered VDAs. So pretty much everything here, we're going to be going through the different function, but you have the unregistered. This is the unregistered one, but everything looks pretty similar as far as being in a function. It will do some sort of variable name here that's relevant to the function itself, and then you're going to store that. In this case, we're trying to get the registration states of the unregistered machines. We'll sort them in a way. If the summary state's available, or the summary state is unregistered, then we're going to go down and we'll do some sort of power action to make sure it's not unregistered. So in this case, we, again, here's the log only. You can kind of see if the log only was specified, it won't take any of the action, but if it wasn't, it will do a broker power action. So we're going to use Studio to do a reset of the machine. And so it's, you'll have your environment, your Studio, your hosted connection set up to talk to your hypervisor. It will use the Studio mechanisms to do that. We do that for, a multitude of reasons, mostly because, if you're using MCS or PBS, that's a certain route that you want to take for the non-persistent nature of the disks and everything to get those flushed. So it will reset that virtual machine. If it can't, it will just give you, unable to restart, or, if it's got users in, if it's got users logged in but it's unregistered, it will give you that error anyway. It will spit all this in that log file, so you can kind of reference it. And then at the bottom, we say if there are any unregistered machines, then use the script, say that it's bad. And that's relevant just if none of the functions, have anything in them. We're basically saying, okay, there wasn't any unregistered machines, there wasn't any blah, 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 for the different functions. So the script's not bad. And if the script's not bad, then we just output a simple line in the notification at the end that says, you know, your environment is clean. So easy way to tell how the environment, you know, was doing. If it's completely clean or if there is going to be stuff in it, then it will list that for you. So this is the power off VDAs function. It's basically just going to go through. It's going to do a get broker on the delivery controller, and you know, above this it lists out, you know, there's a for each delivery controller. So every single one of these functions, if you have multiple delivery controllers specified, it will do the for each on each delivery controller. So it gets them where the power state goes off. There's no power action pending, and the registration state equals unregistered. For each of those, if you don't have the log only parameter, it will simply do a turn on if it's off. So it will say, you know, right host here, where it gives you just the name of the machine, and then it says powering on in the log. If it can't, then it says unable to turn on, and you'll have to kind of follow up with that manually to see exactly what happened there. Either bad hosting connection or just some other type of problem. Here's the maintenance mode one. So we're just doing a get broker desktop here on the delivery controller, where the hosted machine is in maintenance mode. You can't see it here, it's cut off a little bit, but it basically gets, you know, if it's in maintenance mode. And then for each of them, if it's tagged with that certain tag that we called out in our parameter, you know, for what I usually use is a maintenance mode manual tag. I'll actually tag the VDA itself when I put it in maintenance mode. And if that machine has the maintenance mode tag on it, then we're basically just saying it's tagged for maintenance mode, so it's letting us know that there is a machine that's tagged, and then it's also going to reinforce the setting the maintenance mode on it. So for instance, maybe you tagged a VDA in maintenance mode and you forgot to actually put it in maintenance mode. Well, this script will set it for you. Or maybe you tagged it in maintenance mode and also put it in maintenance mode, but another admin, you know, maybe needed it for something small, needed to test a connection on it, took it out of maintenance mode, you know, did their test but forgot to put it back. So either way, if it's tagged with maintenance mode, it will reset, or not reset, but it will, you know, reapply putting it in maintenance mode. If it's not tagged but maintenance mode is true, then the script is basically saying to put it, or to disable maintenance mode on it. So, you know, sometimes if a VDA comes up and doesn't talk to the delivery controller for a period of time, then it will shut itself down and put itself in maintenance mode. So if, you know, one of those of all your VDAs is probably fine, but if, you know, it happened to a bulk machines or just throughout the weeks, you know, one a day happened, that could cause strain in your environment. So this script, you know, will take care of that. So if you have a machine in maintenance mode, but it's not supposed to be on maintenance mode, then we want to take it out. So here's the power states one. Basically, if the power state does not equal off and does not equal on and does not equal unmanaged, then we're gonna say there's a bad power state here, and we're just gonna log that to the transcript and just let them know that you have a bad power state, you know, such as unknown, or, you know, it lost. Maybe you switched like Zen server clusters for a VM. You know, for some reason the cluster itself can't find the VM, so it's got a bad power state. So some sort of action needs to be taken here. Definitely room for improvement on fixing it. But as of right now, I'm just kind of logging that power state. And the reason why we're not doing the unmanaged portion is if you have hosting connections that, or if you have, I guess you have machine catalogs that are not power managed. then those would have the unmanaged power state. So that's why we're not getting those. So this is the uptime function. So what we're saying here is we want to take care of VDAs that have been up for a certain period of time. We have nightly reboots. So if those machines aren't rebooting nightly, then that's a problem. So for one reason or another, we want to make sure we clear those up. So for every VDA that's registered, we're just going to go through the uptime. If it's not registered, different functions will take care of that. So here we're just going to care about the machines that are registered. We'll do a test connection to it. If we can do a test connection, good. If we can't, then there's other issues going on. But what we'll do is we define some variables here in this block. Here's the time, so 24 hours. So if you are up for over 24 hours, it will say I've been up for over 24 hours, and it's going to do a force restart. If the summary state's available. If there's users on, well, then it will say it's in use and a user's logged in, so it can't restart. So basically, if it's up for over 24 hours, doesn't have a user on it, it will just issue the reset command. If it is up for 24 hours and there's a user on it, then so if it's up for 24 hours, does not have a user on it, it will reset. If it's up for 24 hours and has a user on it, it will just simply log that. It will write to the host that this machine has been up for blah 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 24 hours and there's a user logged on and it can't restart. So then it will be up to you to see that in the notification and address it accordingly. Here's the bad load evaluator. This one was kind of brought to my attention as an issue where sometimes after a VDA comes up, the VDA can just kind of sit there with in a registered state, but it will have a load index of 10,000, which basically means that it's at full load and won't accept connections. So, but hopefully by the time your machines reboot and by the time the scripts run, all your VDA should be, everything should be done. The environment should be ready for your users. So if you are rebooting around 2, maybe run the script at 4 or however long necessary that it takes in your environment. So if it does find one of these machines where it's up and the load is 10,000, then it will do an invoke command here, reach out to the computer, and then just do a restart on the broker agent or the Citrix desktop service for that VDA, and then that usually takes care of that. Here's a get RDS license grace period for you all that have RDS or server OS based VDAs in a non-persistent environment. Sometimes it can be troublesome. So this will reach out to the VDA itself and basically do an invoke WI method on it and just say, hey, am I in my grace period or not? If I'm not in my grace period, that means I'm talking to the RDS licensing server and I'm good to go. If I am in my grace period, then something's wrong. And after a certain amount of time being in the grace period, it's not going to allow users to connect. So this will find those and alert accordingly on them. Here's the pending updates. This is for machine creation services. This will basically just list any of your VDAs that have the image out of date to equal true. So in Studio, when you have that column that says pending update, if you have, if that says true there, then it's going to just list those and just kind of let you know. Easy one for me here to kind of keep going and expand upon this. If it is true, then and there's no users on it, well, let's just issue a restart of the VM. and that will take care of that. So lots of things you can continue at. It's just like owning your own house. You just continuous projects and little things you can do that can improve upon it. So looking for more of those tidbits from you guys. Here's the check event viewer one. I like this one just because, you know, it gets you a list of your VDAs, and if maybe you have something specific in your environment that happens and it generates an event log for it, well, we can key in on that specific event and perform some sort of action. Maybe you already have a monitoring tool to do this, but maybe not. This would be a simple way to if the VDA comes up, the morning script runs, it looks for an event ID. If this event ID equals a certain event ID, then we're going to spit out a message saying, hey, I have this event ID that got triggered upon boot. Here's the message of the event ID, so you have it in your reference, and then move on. You know, maybe there's something specific in your environment to say, oh, if this event ID generates, we need to restart a service. Well, we can simply add that to this code base, and it will actually take action instead of having to manually follow up on it. Here's a way to insert the custom code. You know, here's what all the functions pretty much look like. We have this top part of it. We're going to state our function of get whatever we're trying to do, and then our brackets and bracket, and then this middle part here is the insert the custom code. So we'll do some sort of, you know, get broker desktop on the delivery controller, and then you know, get our list of VDAs that we want to run this custom code on. So you simply just kind of copy and paste an existing function, change some of the wording and the actions in the middle, and boom, you have a new custom function. So very easy. Here's down at the bottom of the script where I'm calling out which functions run. Not every one of you is going to run every single function. So if a function doesn't apply to your environment, or you simply just don't care about it, well, just put a comment or a pound sign before the function itself, and then that function won't run. So pretty easy there. You can order them the way you want to order them, and you can run all of them if you want to, or you can comment out the ones that aren't important to you and that you don't want to see. Here's the email. Basically just saying, you know, right here, if script is bad, and we have this at the end of every function, if we get variables for a specific something, then we say the script is bad and it equals 1. So if it equals 1, then we're going to get the content of the transcript file from our output location. If it's not bad, we're going to say, hey, the Citrix morning report is clean. Check your log for details. But again, if there is something in there, we're getting that, and we're gonna put that contents of the log into the body of the email, and then just use all our respective SMTP server stuff, our from address and our to address to send the email out. Here's a sample output here for you. You know, so it's coming from Citrix reporting, whatever the email address is. Here's a subject in there. You know, feel free to change that, whatever you want to do. In this case, we're emailing two different parties. One can be a DL, one can be a specific person. Here's just normal PowerShell transcript verbiage. This is looks pretty much the same for all the transcript, but it does give you, you know, what user you're running it as, and it kind of gives you also the different parameters that you're using, like the command that you used in the script. So it's nice to have that in the top so you can kind of see it, and then tells you where the log file is that it's using. And then at the bottom here, there's multiples of these sample outputs. You can see the scroll bar over here goes down for a while because I have a lot of different functions going on in this environment. So we'll go through those in the other slides. But for this one, it's listing out an unregistered machine. These different highlights here, that's 1, 2, 3. You can see I'm keying in off 3 different Citrix sites. So this will be a particular delivery controller here. This will be another delivery controller and another one. And those are 3 different sites that it's doing. So it will loop through those for the unregistered machines. In this case, in this site, it found one and it's force restarting it. And then the other sites, it didn't find anything, so it just moves on. Here's kind of what the powered off function looks like. Again, 3 different sites. It's found 4 machines here at this site, found a different 4 machines here at this site, and it's powering them on. If there was a problem, it would say it can't, it couldn't power on, or it would let you know what it's doing. And also too, if you're doing the log only function, it will output this exact verbiage here and let you know what it's going to do without actually doing it. So the log only will say, powering on, but it won't actually take those actions. In this case, it didn't find any machines in maintenance mode, so it didn't output anything there. Here's the bad power states function, where it did find some bad power states, and you can see it's going to turn them on. So we're doing that. Here's bad uptime. This one's been up for over 243 hours, and a user's logged in, it can't restart. So 243 hours. So that must have been popping on these morning emails for a long time. So at that point in time, if there's if it's the same entry for each day, you're going to want to address these manually. In this other VDA case, it's been up for 24 hours, so it's just force restarting. And then at the end of all the functions, it will tell you the script took this amount of time to complete. If, depending on what you have and what you're doing, it may take 10 seconds. Or if you're combing through event logs and stuff like that, that sort of stuff just takes time. So it could take longer. Tells you when the script is run, and then from which device is running. That's very handy to have, because a lot of times you get a notification, but you have no idea where the script is running from. So we simply output that here. So that's pretty much it as far as the script goes. We'll go through some takeaways here. Really you just want to implement something in your environment that's going to be checking on these things, so you don't have to do it. Just do yourself a favor and do it. Just get it in, create the scheduled task, have the script run, just put the log only mode on there, and that way you're not going to do anything that could be disruptive, but you're going to get it in there and you're going to get it started. So just take action, and you won't regret it. It will save you time. It will free you up to do other things that you want to do. And hey, you can drink your coffee in peace. Use the log only mode to start. Kind of just went through that. Create custom functions that pertain to your environment. Really it's all about tailoring the script to do what you want it to do. And if you're not liking, the custom or the pre-built functions, just create your own, and that way it will address specific things that is more environment specific to you, and that will again just save you time in the long run. So make sure you follow up on those trends. Someone is going to need to look at these emails that get generated daily. If it's not you, try to get the operations team to do it, but someone's gonna need to follow up on them, and you're gonna need to look for trends in there. Is the same machine, has the same machine been in maintenance mode and tagged with maintenance mode for the past month? Well, do we really need that machine in maintenance mode for that long? Like, why is it not serving connections? We don't want to waste resources. Has a certain machine been powered down every single morning? Well, maybe we should follow up and dig into exactly why. So, this is going to catch 99% of the things, but for the other 1% that it doesn't catch, there will need to be manual action. And sit back and relax. Let this thing do its job. We have so many other projects that we work on, and we get pulled in so many different directions. Just get the script in, take some action, and then just sit back, relax, and let it do its thing in the morning. And then, you don't really have to get into the whole routine of your first 2 hours every single day of going into studio or looking at director and making sure your environment is up, or getting woken up at 6 a.m. from your boss saying, hey, we have tons of alerts or I'm getting calls from tons of users. What's going on? So that's pretty much it. If you want to reach out, you can find me on most of the social media platforms. There's my email there, steve.noel@verticallytechnologies.com. You can go to my blog. I'm definitely on Twitter the most, so feel free to stop in there. Or not stop in there, but reach out to me there, direct message, or just through normal means. And thank you all for attending this session. I had a blast. Hope you did too. Hope you learned something. Hope this saves you a bunch of time. Please don't hesitate at all to reach out. I live and breathe this stuff every day. I love doing what I do. So hopefully you can find great use to this. And again, don't hesitate to contact me or contribute on GitHub and whatnot. So thanks again. Take care, y'all.